Today's lesson is on the percent proportion. So we're going to be going back to using proportions today. For the first part, we're going to kind of demonstrate this with a monster truck, and we have the tires on a monster truck that weigh 2 tons when the entire truck, including the 4 tires, is actually going to weigh about 6 tons. So when we talk about fractions, we're doing part over whole. So the tires are part of the whole entire monster truck that we have here. So we have 2 over 6 is our part over whole. So that would tell me that the tires are actually 1/3 of the entire weight of the vehicle here. We're going to use that concept today to be able to change this into a percent, because we know we could do 1 divided by 3, or we could change 1/3 into a decimal, and we would end up getting 33 1/3%. But we're going to talk about a quick way to do that with proportions today, because percents are always going to compare numbers to 100. So what we can do is, using the idea of the monster truck here, we can use that the part, which was the tires, over the whole entire truck is equal to some percent over 100. Remember, percents are always comparing numbers to 100, so this bottom number in the bottom right will always be 100. Another way that we can hear this in a problem, when you heard me say it, the tires are part of the monster truck. So R is another version of is, so we can kind of put that here. But the other way that we'll say this is over of equals percent over 100. So part of it is of the whole. So that's kind of where we're going with our setup for today. So keeping in mind our setup is over of equals percent over 100. If I look at example number 1, it says what percent of $15 is $9. So if I'm using the is over of, 100 will always go in the bottom right. It says what percent, which tells me that the percent spot is what I'm solving for. So I'm going to put an X there. I see of 15, so my of number is going to be 15. And I see is 9, so my is number is going to be 9. At this point, I just solve my basic proportion by using cross multiplication. So I get 900 equals 15x. Divide by 15 on both sides, and we get that 60 equals x. Just be careful though, because it didn't ask you for a number answer, it said what percent. So the actual answer here is 60% is my final answer then. Example number 2, what number is 40% of 120? Is over of percent over 100. I see a percent this time, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in the percent spot. I see of 120, so that's going to go in the bottom, and what number? So what number is goes in my x spot. Cross multiply 100x equals, this will give me 4,800, divide by 100, and we get x equals 48. So 48 is 40% of 120. I'm going to have you pause the video, and you are going to do example number 3 here. So you're going to set it up. 18 is 25% of what number? 18 is 25% of what number? So is over of, percent over 100. I put the percent in first. 18 is, so that goes in my is spot. Of is what I'm solving for. So I get 1,800 equals 25x. I divide by 25, and I get x equals 72 for my answer. Okay? If I do the stop and reflect, what's the part? The part would be 3, the whole would be 20, and the percent would be 15%. Okay? Moving along to number 4, average gorilla eats about 33.5 pounds of fruit a day. How many total pounds of food does the gorilla eat each day? So in this example, you need to keep in mind that the fruit is, fruit right here, 67% of the total food. Now, it tells us that the gorilla eats 33.5 pounds of fruit. So the fruit, which is 33.5, is 67% of, I don't know. So if I'm setting up my is over of percent over 100, my percent is 67, my is 33.5, and my of is x. Go ahead, cross multiply, and then you'll pause to find out what is the answer for how How many total pounds of food does the gorilla eat? So when I solve this, I get 3350 equals 67x. Divide by 67 on both sides, and I get x equals 50 pounds of food. Okay. So we have example 5. Brand A cereal has 10 cups of cereal. How many more cups are in brand B? So this is 30% and 30% more. This is 10 cups. So we want to know X cups. Trying to figure that out. So we need to know if this is 10 cups, we need 30% more than this one. So we need to know what is 30% of 10. That's really our question. So is over of percent over 100. Percent is 30. Of number is 10. I'm looking for x. So 100x equals 300. Divide by 100. X equals 3 cups more. So brand B has 10 cups plus 3 more, so 13 cups total. In the last example, this is going to kind of open up our conversation for the next part of our chapter. Mrs. Jacoby purchased a shirt that was on sale for 30% off. The original price was $40, so how much did she get off? So we want to know what is 30% of $40. I'm going to have you go ahead and set this one up and solve it. So using the percent proportion, I'm going to have x over 40 equals 30 over 100. Cross multiply, that will give me 100x equals 1200. Divide by 100, and x equals 12. So she would get $12 off. And that's the end of your lesson for today.